This is what women want in bed. Hey there, everybody. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what it is women really want in bed. It seems that sometimes men kind of misunderstand what women are really looking for, and they focus a little bit too much on the sexual technique itself, and they miss some things that are really critically important to creating the sexual encounter that women are really looking for. So in this video, I'm going to break it down, and I'm going to tell you exactly what she's looking for. But before I do that, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Doing so greatly helps the channel. I'm really close to 100,000 subscribers. I really want to hit that goal. So please, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you are. And of course, make sure that you like and share these videos. Doing so helps the algorithm realize that people really want this content, and it really helps spread the information and makes the world a better place. Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Anthony. I am a certified sexologist, Tantra Counselor, NLP Practitioner, and sex, love, and relationship coach. And for over a decade, I have been helping men, women, and couples have the relationship of their dreams and the best sex of their lives. Okay, let's start with number one. So we're talking about what a woman is really looking for in bed. And there are some kind of what I call soft skills, things that aren't necessarily technique, like this position, that position, this rhythm, that rhythm, this touch. They're things that are a little bit less tangible, yet critically important for a woman to consider sex to be really, really good. So number one is safety. And, I have this conversation about safety. In fact, I did an entire episode on the Love Lab podcast about safety and how important it is to a woman. But men tend to overlook this because they go, well, of course she's safe. She knows I'm not going to hurt her. She knows I would never do anything. Of course she's safe. But safety doesn't just mean physical safety, although that's part of it. She needs to feel safe around you, safe that not only you're just not going to hit her or something like that, but that you're going to pay attention. You're going to enter her slowly. You're going to make sure she's warmed up and lubed enough, things like that, that you're going to make this process safe for her to really let go. Remember, it's really vulnerable for a woman not just to spread her legs, but to really open to you in all the ways that she can open to you and receive. And so she really needs to feel safe in order to be able to do that. So you want to make sure that you create an environment where she feels completely safe to completely let go, to completely receive you, and completely just allow herself to disintegrate into a billion particles if you can get her there. Number two is trust. It's part of safety, right? In order for her to feel safe, she has to also trust you immensely if she's really going to let go and go into those deep places. Now, again, trust can mean I trust that you're a safe person to have sex with, but trust can also mean things like, I trust that you're going to listen to me, when I'm asking for something or when I need something, right? Or when something's not working. It can mean that. Trust can mean that she trusts that you have enough control over your ejaculation that you're not going to accidentally ejaculate inside of her. Trust can mean she trusts that you're not going to do something that you really want to do, but she isn't that into. So it's really important to establish the safety and trust. If she trusts you, if she feels really safe around you and in the environment and in the encounter, that's going to allow her to really, really let go and open up. And the reality is deep down inside, whether they realize it or not, whether they say those words, that's what women really want. They really want to be able to completely just let go and receive and allow their energy to just flow. And unfortunately, because they've had so many bad experiences with men, a lot of women have a really hard time doing that. Also, a lot of times, women have been with so many men that ejaculate too early that they're afraid to really unleash the fullness of their sexual power, which of course limits their ability to really enjoy the sexual act. And so, that trust, that safety, that she can really let go and unleash that energy is something that's really going to make sex amazing for her. And trust me, For those of you who are thinking, oh, I don't really care about her, blah, blah, blah. First of all, you should. And, if that's the way you feel, you probably shouldn't be watching the videos on my channel. But be that as it may, if that is how you feel, just realize that the more she unleashes her power, the more she feels comfortable enough to do that, the more intense and pleasurable it's going to be for you also. All right, and that takes me to number 3, which is connection. Connection is critically important. It is easier for men, especially younger men, to have sex as a purely physical act. And while there are some women that can do that and will enjoy it and see it as a purely physical act, for most women, what they really want is connection with you. In fact, many times that they have sex with you, it's not even so much because they really want the sex itself, it's because they want to deeply connect with you. And so if that's missing, that connection is missing in the sexual act, she's really not going to think that it's great sex. And she might not even really want to have sex with you again in the future. So know that one of the things that she is deeply craving by entering into sex with you is connection. All right, and number 4 is paying attention to what she needs and wants. Unfortunately, a lot of people have developed these bad habits. I mentioned in a previous video when I was helping men with their masturbation practice that, in that practice, not to go deep into fantasy, close your eyes and, go into that deep fantasy world. Well, you really don't want to do that here either, because then you're not focused on her and you're not paying attention to her. And that's a problem. When you check out mentally like that, she feels it instantly. She feels the disconnect, and that makes a big shift for her in how she experiences the lovemaking. So you really want to make sure that you're paying attention to her. And of course, this makes you a better lover. Because if you're paying attention and you're shifting what you're doing based on how she's reacting, she's going to notice right away. She's like, oh, that's cool. He just automatically did, like, I didn't even have to ask for that. And he just knows what I like. And she's absolutely going to love it. But that requires you really paying attention. What is her face doing? What kind of facial expressions does she have? What's the color of her skin? What's her body doing as far as movement? Does it feel tight and stiff? Does it feel loose and relaxed and open? You can look at her vagina as well. What are the labia doing? Are they swollen? Have they changed colors? Is she well lubricated, right? There's lots of things that you can look for that can guide you in what to do next and whether or not what you're currently doing is working. So she's really looking for a man who has that level of skill, who's able to actually look for those things and respond accordingly without her constantly having to say, well, could you do this? And I would like you to do that, right? This is definitely something she's looking for. And number 5, she is absolutely looking for a man that can last long enough. The number one complaint that I hear from women is that sex isn't that good for them because he's done too quickly and they are barely warmed up. Like they're just starting to get going and he's done and like wanting to roll over and go to sleep. I have said this so many times over my career as a coach that there were 2 main studies done that talked about how long the average man lasted and how long it took the average woman to have an orgasm. And the 2 main studies, one said men was like 2 to 5 minutes. The other was, I think, 3 to 7 minutes. In any case, let's give men the benefit of the doubt and say the average man lasts about 7 minutes, maybe 10. Well, those studies also showed that it took the average woman 25 to 30 minutes to have an orgasm. So if men, if you're out there going, I don't understand why she's never interested in sex. Well, if you're having the kind of, regular sex that people have where you're not really doing a whole lot of foreplay and you're not really paying attention to her and you're in and out in 7 minutes, of course she's not motivated to have sex because you're not giving her the kind of sex that works for her. So she's absolutely looking for a man who can last long enough so that she can get to her orgasm as well. And bonus, if you can last long enough to take her through multiple rounds of orgasmic bliss during penetration, this is really ultimately what she wants. When a woman has a lover who can penetrate her both physically and emotionally and take her through those waves and waves and waves of orgasm, she will look at you like you are a god. I guarantee it. And especially if it's been her first time, she's really going to look at you that way, because it is an unfortunate truth. I hear this from a lot of women. I coach a lot of women. Many women have never actually had a man who could really do this. Number 6, she wants to be able to experience multiple types of orgasms. One of the things that we often see, and sometimes women do this themselves too, but they focus too much just on the clitoris. Not only that, they focus just on the part of the clitoris that's external. If you've watched some of my other videos or some of Celine's videos where she talks about female anatomy, you know that there's much more to the clitoris. There are legs that go, down either side. It's all internal. You can't see it. But there's a lot more to the clitoris than just that. But there's also G-spot orgasms. There's also cervical orgasms. Orgasms can be implosive. They can be explosive. They can be rolling. They can be all kinds of different things. And what she's really looking for is a man who can help her experience all of them. Now, some coaches, especially some well-known female coaches, will talk about, how some of those orgasms are a lot more powerful than others. There's one teacher out there who talks about the cervical orgasm as being the holy grail. My experience has been that the women that I've been with and the women that I've coached and talked to will often say the same thing, that they're extremely powerful. When women are often describing those sort of earth-shattering orgasms that just blast them open, or that, disintegrate them into a million particles, they're often and usually talking about cervical orgasms. So she's looking for a man that can help her with all of those. I still talk to men to this day who swear that the G-spot doesn't exist and it's a myth. It does exist, and trust me, it works. Talk to a woman who knows and has had G-spot orgasms, and she will tell you how different they are from a clitoral orgasm or even a cervical orgasm. So she's looking for a man that can help her with all of that, experience the full range of what her body is capable of. And number 7, she is looking for a man that can take her through multiple waves of orgasmic bliss. Now, I talked about that in number 5 when I was talking about she wants a man who can last long enough. But really what I was trying to get at in number 5 was long enough at least so that she can achieve an orgasm. Now we're taking it a step further, and we're saying long enough to be able to take her through multiple waves of different types of orgasms. That is an experience that will absolutely blow her mind. And of course, as I have mentioned already in this video, number 8, she is looking to be able to disintegrate into a million particles. What does that even mean? It's an attempt by women to explain that feeling they have when they've built up a lot of sexual energy. They've been through multiple waves of orgasmic bliss, and they have an orgasm that is so powerful that they feel like their body, they can't feel like their body doesn't exist anymore. Osho used to talk about, he wrote a book called From Sex to Superconsciousness, and he talked about using sex as a way to enter higher states of consciousness. The French have a saying called le petit mort, which is the little death, which is an attempt to explain that moment of orgasm when you feel something outside your body, maybe bigger than your body, right? The same way you would feel basically when you die and you leave your body. It's a little bit more morbid there, but but the point is there is some sort of feeling that you can achieve when you have these really big, powerful orgasms. And it is really powerful, and it is an experience that I think everybody should have at least at some point in their lives. And so she's definitely looking for a man who can take her there. For the women who've been lucky enough to experience that at least once, you know that it's possible. And I know women have told me they had this one lover 25 years ago who was able to take them there, and they've never been back since. And you know what they've been thinking about for 25 years? How do they get back there, right? If women have never experienced it, but they've heard other women talking about it, they're like, I want what she had, right? So they're definitely looking for that. That is something that they are hoping that they can achieve with a partner that they love, that they trust, that they feel safe with. All right, and then finally, number 9, what women are looking for in bed is your presence after sex. I actually did a whole video on this on the channel also about, basically what to do after sex is over. And, there's of course the stereotype of men who are just like, sex is over and I'm going to roll over and go to sleep, or I'm going to go watch the game, or I'm going to have a cigarette, or whatever it is. And then you just kind of abandon her. Remember what a vulnerable act this is and how much she has to open herself to receive you. She needs some aftercare after that. She wants your presence. She wants you to be awake. She wants you to hold her. She wants you to tell her how amazing she is and how amazing that experience was and how much you love her and all of those things. So when we're talking about this is what women want in bed, when the actual sex is over, this is a critical piece. This is part of the lovemaking act. There's a before, there's a during, and there is an after. And this is definitely something that I hear a lot of women complain about that they don't get when the actual sex is over. So this is something that's critical. All right, there you go. There are 9 things that women want in bed. I hope you learned something. Some of those may have surprised you. Some of them you may have been like, yeah, I already knew that. But these are definitely the things that women are looking for. Notice there wasn't really a lot of technique in there because it's not necessarily about technique. If you can do those things, she's going to think you're the best lover ever. If you can add some good technique into it, even better. And please go check out my website at kevinandceline.com/link in bio. That page has links to everything that I'm doing. You can find my Power Mastery courses there, my Love Lab podcast, of course, this YouTube channel, my coaching programs, products that I sell, media appearances. If you want to see some of the interviews I've given on other shows, it's all right there at kevinandceline.com/link in bio.